the day begun? I lived one life. As the day ended, I had begun anew, reborn with a new life, a new mission, reborn with a new vision. What may come, I don't know yet, but I am here alive, living my life to the fullest, with new love in my heart and soul, a gift to have, a gift to give, a new life of love, reborn.
Hello, Mish. Yes, Mish, I'm here today. I'll talk about it, but I won't be here Tuesday. And depending on how my procedure goes on Tuesday, will determine whether or not I come on Thursday of next week. So lots of fun. But I figured I would try to get back on the wagon. And then, I don't know, I'm kind of thinking moving forward, I may, in the new year, I may only do one day a week. And it depends. I'd love to talk it out. I'm rehashing what I want the channel to be and how I want to engage with people. And I don't think being on every single day of the week is going to prayers are up. Hello, we are the village. Love to see that. I don't think having multiple things is going to, change the visitations that people are going to have to your channel, because I know people that only go live once a week and they're doing exceedingly well. So I think I just have to think about how I do this. But have a great story for you. So I think on Tuesday I was talking with you all. I was making cabbage and apples and kielbasa. And I had made a meatloaf, and I was preparing some things for Thanksgiving because it's just me and I don't eat turkey. So I like to have stuff ready to go. And I have a crazy couple of weeks coming up. So I taste the kielbasa, and all I can tell you is I immediately didn't feel well. I'll spare you the details, but I ended up having a severe allergic reaction. When I tell you I had Angelina Jolie lips, like ginormous, my teeth went numb and my throat started to close. I had used, so it was either the kielbasa or the mustard seed, which I'd never used before. Now I'm texting my neighbors because I can't talk at this point. And I'm saying to my neighbors, does anyone have Benadryl? I'm having an allergic reaction. I'm going to die here in the bathroom, and this is not where I want to die. So I get myself from the second floor where the bathroom is to the first floor. I get into the kitchen and I find the dog's Benadryl because I had gotten it for their allergies. And I popped one. In the meantime, one of my neighbors came right over to my house. She's like, I can go to CVS for you. I'll take you to the hospital. Call, I'm like, I can't talk. I've got, So she stayed here with me for about, I don't know, half hour until the Benadryl started to kick in. And then I took a second one. And the reason I don't usually take Benadryls is because it causes heart palpitations. So I never know if I'm having a coronary or what. So it was, to say the least, terrifying. I had a vat of cabbage and apples and kielbasa all in the garbage. Can't eat it. It's got the spice in it. Since then, I can't keep any food in my stomach. And then come Tuesday, I'm doing the upper and lower GI series colonoscopy thing. So I really have to cut down on eating in the next few days anyway, and, cleansing the body. And tomorrow I'm driving 6 hours, 3 hours to visit my auntie, probably 3 or 4 hours visiting, and then 3 hours back. So I'm like, my life is topsy-turvy. Boys, I gave you a bone for a reason. So either y'all are going to sit down or you're going to go to the penalty box. So anyway, I know, I'm telling you, serious drama. And then on Wednesday, I had joined a book club because I'm trying to get out of my agoraphobia and leave my house and actually talk to people. I walked to the library, and on the way back, I don't know what happened to my ankle. So now, thank God it's not my driving ankle. I'm limping. I have no idea. I have a pinch, I have a pull, I have a twist, I have a. I'm telling you, Om Dalai Lama, Dalai Lama, Dalai Lama. Oh boy, are the winds of change smacking me upside the head. I'm telling you. All right, Luca, go get your water puppers. There's plenty of water. I don't even know where to begin, because it was like, holy crap-a-doodle. But so Mish, I've been thinking a lot about you and people that are will have food insecurity given that benefits are being taken away. And I was talking to my friend today, and she was telling me that in Memphis, they brought in the National Guard, and that when people are going to the grocery store, because people don't have their benefits, they're waiting until people get to their cars and they're jacking them for their groceries, or they're following them home and taking their groceries. Oh my God. So please be careful if and when you ever do go grocery shopping, be safe, because I wanted to, share this as we're talking about it today, that there's fear here. And when people don't have food, this is one of the things that they do. Indigo. I know, sister girl, I'm telling you. Come here. Come sit with mommy right now. Come on. Up. Oh, your brother stole your other bone, so you're poop out of luck. Come here. So yeah, it's just been, as we talk about what we're going to talk about today, we really do need to know and appreciate that there is chaos in this world, that there is anger, there is fear, and people aren't in their right minds. Remember, I was talking about crowd mentality. And so we're going to talk about that. We're going to dive in. So if you can't go grocery shopping, in a way, I feel blessed for you that you can't. I hope you get it delivered. But it is terrifying. And I don't have that here. So, I'm like, I want you to move to Massachusetts. I know the weather isn't all that and a cup of tea for you, but the benefits here, they are, in my neighborhood, they've now increased the number of times you can go to the food pantry. And there are like 4 new locations, and they will deliver if you can't get to them. So this is a state, I know they call it Taxachusetts, and yes, we do have high taxes here, but the communities are not going to let anyone go hungry. The only way you're going hungry is if you haven't paid attention to Facebook or Instagram or all the communications that we have put out there to our communities that there's food. So there's really, locally anyway, there is no excuse. And the surrounding states, like Rhode Island, is very similar to this. I can't speak for New Hampshire. They're the live free or die state, so I don't know about them. But I believe Connecticut also has a whole host of programs. So just, as we were talking about food insecurity on Tuesday, it's amazing that certain people will come together. So let me just see what's going on here in the chat. So Indigo said, I'm alive. I know there's a lot happening here too. I'm trying to live my life and keep my community connected. Yeah. And so we're going to talk about that, Indigo. Great that you're here today. If anyone is located in an area that GoPuff delivers to, they're giving away $50 worth of food and free delivery. That's amazing. I've never heard of that, but that's amazing. Um, LOL, it's a small town. Everyone knows everyone, but have to have money to deliver regardless. Here is okay unless you are native. You get bupkis. Yeah, I'm so sorry. That's that's been my prayer. I think my constant prayer is just there. We become calm in the brain when all of this stuff starts going around because it is, as a friend of mine would say, it's fakakta in the caboodle. There's just people have their heads up their butt and they are irrational and they're angry and they're afraid. And that then brings out the darker side of their personality. And I don't care if you want to call it woke. I don't care if you want to call it awakened. I don't care if you want to call it observant. I don't know what the right adjective is, but as we are in these communities on these channels with most of our friends, there is this awareness that we have that finding kind words, right? So we have to loop in those words again, that can lower the temperature of something or a situation. But it has made me super aware just knowing other states are, in meltdown. And there's chaos. And I think for me, the only thing that I can say locally, and this is where we start talking about building community, or do we focus on being the change or protecting the environment or, whatever works for us. In building your community, it's like for me, have in my back pocket, here are the local places that you can get food. And here's what we're doing for a clothing drive for the winter, especially for kids. They will have hats, coats, mittens, boots, scarves, if they want them. So it's really just fascinating. Thank you for providing that link. So, one of the things when I wanted to talk about today is how people can be the change by growing their food, supporting the pollinators by planting things, shopping locally, and showing up for our communities. We can create this ripple of kindness, right? So I was talking on Tuesday about the ebb and flow, right? So there's this give and this take in the universe. And so one of the way, oh, great, you still have the resource sheets. That's amazing. Yeah, so I want to echo this, Indigo. Indigo says, I am blessed that I have family and friends who truly have my back. It's a privilege and I don't take it for granted. I try to stay cognizant of how these changes will make people feel powerless. Absolutely. And I think that there's, when you feel like you can't control your environment or the situation. I talked on Tuesday that I am hugely blessed that I have people that have my back. I have to be humble and I have to know when to ask for help because it's not just going to readily come because no one's going to know that I'm in a pickle, that I don't have food this week or, whatever the situation is. And so I am not good at asking for help. I've always been the giver. So to be a receiver is like, whoa, Nelly. And sometimes we've all been kicked to the curb a couple of times. And when you're down and out, asking for help is just one more knife in your heart. It's like, ugh, am I really that much of a loser? And that's the narrative we need to change because we all stumble and fall, maybe to different degrees, but we all stumble and fall. And that's part of this, this conversation. So one of the things that I had mentioned the other day was, all right, let's talk gardening, and you don't have to have a lot of land. You can do a container garden of herbs, of lettuce, of tomatoes, peppers, if that's your thing, on your balcony, on your windowsill. If you have a little porch, these are all things that can be done, especially if you live in warmer climates. You can do this now. So if you're in my neck of the woods, I can grow some herbs, but most of the foods, unless you're doing the brassicas, right? So that's the broccolis, the cauliflowers, not the eggplants, but the squashes. You could probably feed yourself, and pumpkin. Incarnasol Richard, welcome. So it's really one of those things that we have to think about moving forward. So it may not be something that you do today, but think about it. There are also vertical gardens, and we're going to talk more and more about this, especially as I move into those seasons. But wall-mounted planters, hanging baskets, to grow greens and strawberries. You can get containers that you can grow blueberries. You don't always have to can them. You can freeze a lot of things, and we can talk about that. Even if you go to the grocery store and it's in season and there's a sale, and I've heard this, I don't know if it's true. I'm going to do research into it, but with the beef industry sort of going to be shaken up, and I don't know if the deal with Argentina went through, beef prices are going to fall through the roof. There's going to be a plethora. I don't know if I want it from Argentina. I'm going to be using local beef. That means it's going to cost more, but I'll talk about that again. That's what I would say. If you can save pennies or ask someone you love that has a little extra, can you buy this for me and stock up on your beef or your chicken and freeze it? Maybe cook it before you freeze it. That way it's ready when you need it. You can always season it later, but cook it or part cook it. So we'll talk about it. But, the other thing that we can do as people that want to take care of the earth and the environment is plant flowers for the bees and the birds, because they're our pollinators and we need them. And then composting. Know your kitchen scraps and what you can compost. And that will create great nutrients in your soil, because we're having a crisis in finding clean soil. And again, a lot of this is local to me, but I want you to just be aware that this is stuff that has been resonating with me and traumatizing me and keeping me up at night. The other thing, and this comes to community as well, if you're in a position to have space to have a garden, or your community, there is a community space to have a garden, there's shared plots, there's mentorships. So tap into a local farmer and say, look, I'm not good at growing certain things. Would love to be able to come to a clinic. Usually they have free growing clinics. So, they'll help you, and you could ask, look, do you have a community garden? That I don't really have any space. And you might find that one or two neighbors may want to do something similar. This is where we have to outreach with each other and our communities. Not saying this is easy. I'm just saying it's an option. Right. And then we talked about, hang on, I want to just check the, the comments. So let me just scroll over. Dun, dun. Indigo says, I like to reframe it. How am I able to contribute? I try to make a list of things I can do and what my strengths are, then ask for help on the items that I am not good at. Yep. That way you can see what you can control. That's beautiful. And that's a perfect example of, even in my community, Do you have a coat that's in decent condition with no holes and it's not all scrabby, but you don't wear it anymore for whatever reason? If you don't know someone specifically, there are churches, etc., that are looking for those things to give to other people. And I just washed a couple of raincoat type things because I'm a little too big to fit into them. Shh, don't tell anyone. But, they're just sitting in my closet. And I keep saying, oh, when I drop, blah, 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 I'll be able to wear them again. And to me, that was selfish because I've been saying this now for a couple of years. I'm not going to get to that weight, and that's okay. So let me give it to somebody that doesn't have a coat. And I'm watching these stupid kids walk around, and even some adults. And, and this is the thing we were talking about on Tuesday about judging other people in their stories. These two women were either high as a kite or drunk as a skunk. They were not sober. Scantily clad, very few clothes on, holding each other up. And in my heart and in my mind, I'm like, if you can exchange a kind word, and when anyone ever sees me with my dogs, that always brings love. And I always send them away with, I hope you have a fantastic day. I hope you're blessed with whatever I feel like my intuition says they need to hear. I attended this book club, and a woman was there. She's a little awkward, a little off kilter. But it was really important for her, I sensed, to be recognized that she knew about the topic we were discussing. And I waited till everybody finished talking, and I looked at this woman and I said, and I so appreciate your knowledge on this subject and sharing it. You would have thought I gave her $500 million. Her whole countenance just, thank you very much for noticing that. Like, she really took pride because this was a topic she knew about. And there were other women in the room. And, it was a book I was not as thrilled with. And, but it was like a historical fiction. Anyway, the point being that sometimes there is someone that if you can say something to them, it raises their vibrations, right? We talk about vibrations. It raises their energy. It puffs them up a little bit so that when they do walk out into the world, they have one good thing that they heard today. And maybe later, it'll go on to somebody else. What do you want, puppy? You want to sit with your brother or you want to come sit here? Nope. He wants to go sit with his brother. I'm telling you, these dogs. Yeah, it can make us less willing to help. Absolutely. I get it. I mean, I definitely get it. So when offering, to someone, remember that it's never easy on either side unless you're coming. Yeah. Let me just get to the rest of this. Love and empathy without expectations. If someone declines, try not to take it personally and thank you, whether you ever hear anyone else say it, it's appreciated. I agree with that. I think, look, you have to, I used to say this when I was talking to my staff, you have to know your audience, know the topic. You might know that subject like the back of your hands, but if you get up there and start talking like you know it, and the audience is like, I think she skipped A, B, and C, because I don't know the rest of that, what she's saying. Know your audience. And sometimes people just aren't in that receptive mood. And all you can say is, I hope you have a great day. And move on. It's not your place to fix it. I'm sorry, I'm going to cough. What did I do with the water bottle, puppy? I had it. Well, I guess I'll drink my hot chocolate. You can often regrow your veggies from the store as well. Cabbage, onions, carrots, celery, potatoes. Absolutely. And we're going to talk more about how to do that, Mish, as I go on. Not today, but that's going to be another topic, because if you're a novice, again, knowing your audience, if you don't know how to do these things, it's really overwhelming. And I was overwhelmed when I started. And think about just one or two things that you use. Onions is a perfect example. You can take the bottom of a scallion, put it in a glass of water and it will regrow. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. So, it's really, really important to know who you're talking to. Hard for agoraphobes, but necessary. We need to get out more when we can. Maybe this is one of the solutions. Yes, and this is why I'm forcing myself. I'm forcing myself to drive 3 hours to visit my auntie tomorrow. I have every excuse under the book not to get in that damn car and drive to see her. But this may be my last chance. And am I going to be selfish and allow my fear and my whatever, anxiety to prevent me from getting in the damn car, driving 3 hours, visiting with her for 3 hours, and coming back? Shame on me, And yes, I know it's a Friday. And yes, I know traffic's going to be banana cakes. So what? The dogs will survive. I am hoping someone responds that they can at least let them out halfway through the day and just let them tinkle. And I really am going to have to start working on finding somebody that can do that for me, because next Saturday I have to go someplace and I don't really want to go and spend the night at my stepmom's. I'm not ready to be in that house where my dad was. So anyway, I digress. You can also do small starter trays inside if it's out of season, and you can temp control the room in your house. Yes, I don't have a lot of space, but I'm going to work on that. That'll be something I work on over the winter. I have a small little, I call it a she shed, attached to my apartment, and because I'm in a 2-family house. So the apartment has I call it a she shed. It's a little shed, but I have it packed. So I need to slowly go through it, take a few things out at a time, and then purge what I don't need and try to reorganize stuff. But yes, you can definitely grow some stuff on your kitchen table or your dining room table or whatever. Great. You listen away. Indigo says, I would also like to suggest looking into programs, organizations that help people out of DV's difficult situations. They often need donations of absolutely. I'm lucky where I live. That's easy peasy for me. So, it's people that are in other areas, like where Mish lives. There doesn't seem to be this great community of people who help each other. And if you are a little bit resistant to going out and searching for solutions, that could be a problem. There is a lot of imposter syndrome out there. Noticing someone and acknowledging can often be the potion. Yep. All right, let me just, okay, so let me, so we talked about community gardens. The other thing is shopping locally. And I say this for a couple of reasons. We're going to talk about solar farms, and we're going to talk about the control that others have over our food source. So shopping locally supports those farmers, those people that can grow, that have the infrastructure to grow, to provide real fresh chickens and cows that have not been tainted with some lovely chemical. So supporting them, even small growers, can help. And think about, people say, well, it's more expensive. In the end, it's not. It is. Don't get me wrong. If you can get it at Walmart for $3 and they're charging $5, that $2 can really make a difference in your pocket. I would say look to where there may be other places, if possible, to tweak it to get the better quality locally. And I say that for a host of reasons. I will get back to it, so just bear with me on this. There are also sometimes community-supported agriculture. So if you could invest in a local farm and you would receive regular produce boxes, but you have to do the research to see if it even exists in your area. But it's called community-supported agriculture. and it might be called something else in everybody's community. But, you know, I forget what the subscription was. It was too much for me, but people get milk, they get eggs, they get chicken, they get beef, whatever. Um, it's something that I'm going to be investigating because I don't want my local farmers to surrender their farms to either solar farms or some other cracky person who they're doing it for the wrong reasons. And again, we're going to talk about it. And then think about the homemade goods that people make. Because if you put that money back into the community, that's telling the outside world, no. We know that we're getting all these cheap goods from Temu and China and Timbuktu. And yes, I love a good deal, but this is what I was kind of intimating on Tuesday. We went from the 70s and prior, 1970s, the 60s, the 50s, the 40s, the 30s, where people mended clothes. They didn't just, dispose of them. They shared things within their communities. They grew their food. They cooked their food. They shared their food. Now we want to be able to go to the McDonald's, the Wendy's, the whatevers. We want to dial somebody to deliver us, quick access. Well, none of that is cheap. We want to be able to go to Walmart and buy a sweater. But if someone handmade it, will it last longer? Are you really saving? And P.S., have you gone to Goodwill or the Salvation Army or whatever your local consignment shop is? Because people, and I used to be one of them, bought tons of stuff and never took the labels off and then ended up donating. There's good stuff out there. It's so lessening our footprint and that need for constant, I need it now. I must have the best. And, who needs a TV in every single room? Right now, I have a laptop in front of me. That laptop can go to every room that I need. Yes, I have a TV, but I'm saying I don't need one in every room. Your kids don't need a TV in every room. Have them join you and become a family and watch the same damn things. So it's changing our mindset. We went from being families to being independent within a family or not being a family at all. All right, I'm dun, 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 dun. What does this say? Not putting this out there to say do or not, just sharing this info. There's a blackout strikeout on the day following Thanksgiving. They're only shopping small locals. So yes, so here's the thing for me. Besides the fact that I'm on a major strict budget, I have nobody to shop for. I'm not buying gifts. And if I'm going to do any gifting, it's going to be stuff that I make. I'll make mini cakes or my homemade butter or my red sauce. If I have to give a gift, it will be that. I might even think about making my own candles. I'm not sure. I don't really have energy right now, and I've got a whole host of medical shit that's going on. So, but I don't really. I don't give gifts. It's not the same as it used to be, and so it's. I've had to dial back. Now, if I had a grandchild, it'd be different. I don't. If I had young nieces and nephews or great nieces and nephews that were local, I might consider it. But honestly, I would go to the dollar store and get coloring books and crayons and say, knock yourself out. Because I've witnessed kids, they rip the boxes and then they play with the boxes and they don't give a hoot what's in the box. And I'm not going to spend a lot of money on a gift that most kids aren't going to play with. They just aren't. And I don't buy clothes for kids. It's always been a no for me. I did it once or twice and it wasn't good enough. And I was just like, no. No. I'm not doing that. Mish says, we have a quarter of our garage filled with clothes, many with tags, plus toys, household, etc. We do what we can, but I had gotten lazy last year or so. Oh, so no, putting yourself down. No berating yourself. Look, we do what we can do within the space that we're in. And it's funny because I was just watching Trista. She was talking about the fact that I guess wherever she lives in Canada, people come in and they evaluate your apartment. And she asked for a change of date because she hasn't been able to clean. And she said, "I'm not a dirty person, but I've just been in a funk." I've had people in my house where my house really looks like a pigsty. Never in my life have I been this disorganized, cluttered, messy. I was ashamed. And I was like, "Teresa, you're tired. You may not be working, but you're tired. You're not sleeping. You're not resting. Give yourself a break and do one small thing at a time." And that's all I'm doing. One small thing at a time. This place will be cleaned by the end of November. It will be organized because as I'm doing things, I'm purging. But, I've been berating myself for 3 years about the fact that I'm in boxes. I don't know where to put stuff. I don't need it. It took me this long to say, I don't need the stuff I haven't unpacked because it's not part of my story anymore. I don't live in a huge house. I live in a small apartment. That's not going to change. So, it's like, all right, I need to make a change, be the change I wish to see in the world. And I know mentally I'm cleaner and clearer in my head when my space is clean. And so, I just want you to be gentle because you're harsh on yourself, sister friend, and I love you and I don't want to see you doing that to yourself. Where am I? All right, just acknowledging and real. All right, I got you, girl. I got you. And I don't want to use the pandemic as an excuse either, but it was a major personal life cultural changing event. We all had to hunker down and it changed our mindsets a lot. And I find that because I closed my doors, it wasn't as important to keep things all orderly. I'm not dirty, although the kitchen right now could use a good cleaning since Tuesday night's little allergic reaction. But anyway, I digress. Those are just small ways, small things that we can do, that we can contribute, that we can participate in, And so, in the best ways possible, trying to be nicer to the earth. And that leads me to solar farms. So I'm not anti-solar. I just want to be really clear about that. I am anti-solar farms, and here's why. Solar energy, it is absolutely essential and critical to reduce carbon emissions. But what it does requires vast acres of land, which displaces our wildlife and our bee pollinators and communities. And most of those areas don't benefit from the solar farm. It goes somewhere else. And those solar farms are usually owned by foreigners, not Americans. Okay. The number of bird deaths because of the solar farms in California and now in upstate New York, it's ridiculous. The concentrated solar beams injure or kill birds. The fencing disrupts animal migration. The water usage, cooling systems, and panel cleaning, it strains water resources. And the panel waste, they only have like 25 or 30 years worth of viability. So they haven't even figured out how to recycle them, right? So, there could be, they said something like 78 million tons globally by the time we hit 2050. and manufacturing impacts. These panel productions involves mining and chemical processing, often in the poorest countries. So, what's my solution? And this has come from studies and other YouTubers that have been very active in this. And this is how I got educated. But you can put solar on houses, on corporations, on their buildings, on their tall, massive buildings, on their small police stations and firehouses, and bulletin boards that, those big bulletin things that you drive by. There's another word for it. I'm just not finding it. And um you know it it doesn't have to poison our earth. I'm a huge proponent that there's resolution, and there's it's solvable. But by us buying up land and having some other company from a different country poisoning our environment, we're killing those things that we need most to propel clean, natural land. We're degrading the land. We're degrading the ecology of the environment. So these are things that, ripple my skirt, if you will. And I really think that there are so many other solutions that are out there. It's just not profitable to the powers that be. And that leads me to another discussion I want to bring up. How do I do this without being shot? All right. So there's something called the world. Well, let me check comments first. Hold on. Let me just get to comments, because before I get there, I'm sort of on my high horse. Let's see. Indigo says, I would like to suggest looking into programs organized. Oh, I already did that one. Sorry, I went too far. Come back. Come here. My mouse is not cooperating. Aw, thank you. All right, so we're already we're in the same line. Okay, let me get rid of this. Hide that. Okay, back to a tough conversation. So there is something called the World Economic Forum that supposedly raises concerns about centralized control over food systems, while contrasting it with regenerative, community-based alternatives. It is led by somebody called Klaus Schwab, very affluent German, who they're doing this under the guise of being charitable, that everybody will be fed and everybody will be clothed and everybody will be housed. But they will control ultimately, and this is what they want to do. So this is not conspiracy theories. You will then lose your autonomy, meaning you won't be able to just get any kind of job. They're going to control it all. They're going to control the kind of food and the food that you eat, and where you buy it, and the price. They will control how you work and where you work and when you work. So what's happening is this corporate consolidation in agriculture has led to a handful of companies controlling our livestock, our grain, our dairy production. Right now, there are 4 companies who control 80% of beef packing and more than half of the chicken market in the US alone. 4. How many states are there in America? Hello. The shift is pushing out the small farmers, hence buying locally. It's replacing the diverse ecosystems with, they call them monocultures, like factory farms where animals are confined indoors, often treated with antibiotics and other AI chemicals. That's all I'm going to say there. And they're promoting this for under the guise of sustainability and food security. But the critics are going, they're quiet. There are critics, but not enough. And they're not talking about it enough. That these initiatives are going to lead to centralized governance of agriculture. So, really something that we need to pay attention to. I know he's not in charge right now, but someone just said he's about to be brought back. So I just want to raise this in this conversation that we, the people, need to be educated. We need to pay attention. The Project Regeneration movement, it's still alive and well. You know, advocates for animal integration into regenerative culture, that's decentralizing, it's soil building approach that contrasts with industrial models. And we just need to pay attention. We need to wake up. And I want to know who holds the power, right? Who are those decision makers? They're not average American people. They're not average people. These are people with money who benefit from these decisions. Yes, sometimes they do it with in good intention, but I say that in quotes because I don't necessarily believe that it is. I believe it's controlled intentions. I think regenerative farming is key. I think our seed banks, which preserve the biodiversity so that I can get whatever kind of tomato is grown in the wind and not some chemically altered seed. Because once you start putting chemicals into those seeds, we're not eating clean food. We're not growing clean food. It's changing our body chemistry. And I could go off on a little weird tangent. Thankfully, we're running out of time, so I won't. But Greg Braden talks about that by 2050, it's possible not all American or humans will actually be 100% human because we will have altered our chemistry. I don't think he's that far-fetched, to be honest with you. I won't be alive, so it's less important for me, but I want the next few generations behind me to understand and to know and to learn your life, your health, your decisions, your control may not be yours if you don't pay attention. Let me just, I want to, yeah, we will own nothing. 100%, Mish. Who owns the majority of the farms currently? That's right. Oh, yeah, I'm going to be doing some more research into that, so I'll get back to you. I'll look into that. I don't know much about Larry, but I will. Yeah, and part of the problem, and this is our responsibility as consumers, we wanted fresh watermelons, right? All year long. It's seasonal. Eat seasonally. If we stop buying something, they're not going to produce it. There's going to be waste and they're not going to do it. I'd love a really nice watermelon. I got to tell you, all season this year, they were the crappiest watermelons I've ever tasted. So I don't know where they were coming from, but I was like, no, I'm not doing that again until I can grow up myself. Now I don't have the space for that. So I'm just going to have to surrender. But there are some other people that if they're growing them locally, I will buy the watermelon locally. It's only for a small period of time. Yes, I love bananas. And we can still get bananas coming from within the United States, but we still import them. And it's not like I don't want to support other countries. I do. But we have to think about it's grown in another place. It has to get shipped within that country, put on some kind of a boat or a truck, shipped to the United States, distributed to wherever the hell it's got to go, and then it goes off in all these trucks to their destinations. Money, 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 money. Prices go up. Our oranges, if Florida has a bad year with oranges, the juice prices go up, but the quality of everything is awful. And so it's just a reminder that we, the people, have to pay attention, and we, the people, need to make decisions about what's going to support us. It's awareness. That's really what it comes down to, is awareness in this conversation. That's really what I've been trying to do. And these people in power, it's not about us. It's not. I don't care. I used to really admire and like the Gatester, but I've seen him for the dangerous human being that he is. I would also venture a guess that's why he's no longer married, because, So all of these pieces, all of these elements, it's really about what can we do? And that's why I want to have these discussions. Where can we control certain things? And again, I understand our money, whatever we have in our pockets, is precious. So we have to make the decision about what's most valuable to us. And there is no shame, there is no blame in whatever decisions you make in the short term to get you where you need to be. Like I said, if the meat prices are going to fall, I'm going to be in line with everybody else, buying whatever I can to put in a freezer. And then I won't have to buy meat until I can set aside a budget. And I'm working on that now because I have limited funds. But if I get those funds, maybe I don't buy as much as I used to. I buy specific cuts to do specific meals, and leave it alone. So it's just thoughts, maybe healthier veggies. And I'm not a huge vegetable person, but I know that I want to control as much as what's going into my body as possible for the time that I have left. That could be tomorrow. That could be 30 years from now. God, please don't let it be 30 years from now. But I want to be considered healthy, and I want control over the food that I choose to put into my body. And yes, we will have fewer restaurants if that's the case. We don't need a McDonald's on every corner. And somebody keeps telling me, I don't know how true it is, but the meat in McDonald's is not actually meat. I don't know. And I'm not willing to find out. I'm not willing to eat there anyway. All right, let me just check comments. He owns 242,000 to 270 acres of farmland, making him the largest owner of agricultural land in the United States. I'd be curious where in the United States, and I'll look this up because it's been on my mind. And what's he using the farmland for? Is he actually growing foods, or is he creating solar farms? Or, how are they treating animals? And, this is the first time in my life I'm like, go PETA. Let PETA fight the containment of these animals, the mistreatment. Cows should be out there grazing. Buffalo should be out there grazing. Whatever we put into our body should be out there grazing, healthy and happy. If we choose to eat them, they should have a good life before they get there, and not in some, building where they don't even really get to see the daylight, and they're constantly milked and they're constantly whatever. It really, it hurts my heart in ways that I want to make a change. Hence the title. To promote more productive seeds and help with climate adaptation. So I don't believe him. Adaptation. I don't. So I think we do have to We do, Mish. We have to say we don't consent, and we have to be aware, and we have to put this out there. That's why we're having these conversations. That's why I want to do this kind of topic, because as we spiritually awake and we become aware of our universe and the energy, and we're having tremendous winds here. Our weather is turned upside down in New England. It's not just here. What we're doing to the earth, manufacturing weather or ecologically poisoning our earth, we're impacting it. And if we don't talk about it amongst ourselves, the few people that are here with me today, whom I love and appreciate so much for being here, maybe it'll generate a discussion, and you'll talk about it with some friends, and maybe you'll do your own research and you'll figure out, oh my God, what the hell in my community am I doing? You know? So I think this is all stuff that's important. Cattle flatulence is not the problem. Greedy old men's hot air could be. Amen. Yes, Siri Bomb. Sorry for that. No, I like it. And it hasn't been a passion of mine for decades. The poisoning of the environment has, the oceans it has. But I still didn't feel like it touched me. As I'm aging and as I'm seeing this political chaos, taking away people's SNAP benefits is a version of control. Oh, we're going to come in and save you now. And now you have to be in this program, and they monitor you. That's really scary to me. And oh, you have to do this. Now I'm all for people owning up and taking responsibility for their own survival, their own health, their own recovery. But it's frightening to surrender our control. And I know you're all going to laugh at me, but think about The Handmaid's Tale. We're not far from a version of this when you have religious leaders wanting women to be stay-at-home moms now only, and that they have to be beholden to their husbands, and they don't need more than a high school education. Don't even. That's just going to enrage me. And this is stuff I want to talk about. So this is what's going to happen here moving forward. I'm still very much engaged in our healing, but in our healing, we have to be able to take care of the whole package, our health, our well-being, what's important to us, and our children and our grandchildren and our nieces and our nieces' kids and our nephews' kids. And, we need to be aware. We need to wake up, There's a song in my head that's playing. Give me a second to think about it. It'll come back to me, and I'll play it. It's from Sister Act. I think it's the first Sister Act. If you want to be somebody, if you want to make a change, you got to stand up and take a change. Oh, God, it's in my head, but I can't articulate it, but I will. Let's see. Barramundi and rice pilaf. I don't know what barramundi is. What is that? Tell me. I'd love to know. Is it a meat, fish? What kind of dish is it? And then let me check the poll. So 33% of us say that we want to protect the planet, and 67% say that we want to build community. So to me, as I end that poll, those are both huge priorities, and I think it's important. And I think that, these are great conversations to have, and I think it's a great Google Meet that we could have in the near future. And I think that, creating this awareness helps all of us. Now, the one thing I wanted to know, Mish, I saw that you put us on the village. Would I see comments from the village? Because I don't want to ignore anybody. Now, that's something we do, kill restaurants by using delivery services and charges. Yeah. So, Richard, I went to get Chinese food about a month and a half, 2 months ago. I was craving Chinese food and I wanted to sit down, and they're like, oh, no, we only deliver. I'm like, well, I'm here, I'm not home. So that it really is, and they did that because more and more people just wanted delivered. I get that COVID started that. So I get that. But most of the Chinese restaurants in my neighborhood have not recovered from that. They have not, they don't hire staff. They only have the cooks and the people at the front desk. Burundi is a medium bodied white fish, not too light and flaky, not too heavy. Wow. Well, I've never even seen it on my grocery shelves. So, um, is it, is it like a flounder? Well, anyway, that sounds delish. Table for two. Anyway, guys, thank you as always for being here. Thank you for engaging with me. I appreciate you so much. You know that. If you haven't liked and subscribed, please do so. For those of you on the replay, please drop in the comments if any of this resonates with you, because I'm passionate about this now, and I want to be educated, and I want to understand what's happening, so that we can make a difference, because we are the change. Each one of us can alter a community by sharing the information, by making people aware. It's my goal. It's my goal. Outside, I have a little fenced in area. And on the outside of my fence, on the street side, I put a raised bed that I had that is falling apart. I kind of hammered and screwed it back together. I filled it with strawberries that my neighbors get to benefit from in the spring. And I'm going to put other things out there too that we as a community, just my little street, and if it's successful, then I want to propose it to other people within our neighborhood. Let's see if we can help each other out. Small ways. And there's a gentleman who has land that he's not using across the street from me. I would be willing. I have a whole bunch of pallets. I'll make a little raised bed and we could grow shared fruits and vegetables. I'd be willing to go to the poor communities that they call them tent cities and help them and start them with some things. Now, it may not be so successful there. I get it, because they're in tent cities, because they're right now drug infested. But somebody that might just be down on their luck is in that tent city, might take on the role of growing the food for their little community. I had so many tomatoes this year. I was making them, giving them away to my people within my community. I made bread sauce, I made tomato juice, and I just shared it because they had it. I kept plenty for myself. But the point being that with a small couple of plants, we could make a huge difference in our community. We could help feed them. And that's all I'm saying. So with that, I will not be here Tuesday. I will be enjoying the endoscopy, colonoscopy. So, and then Thursday is up in the air. I hope to be here, but there is an opportunity for me to leave my house and participate in an event, and I'm toying with whether or not I do it. Dun, 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 dun. Have you heard about the tent cities in Utah? I have not. Is it because they're poor? Is it because that they are addicts? I'm curious. And then Richard said, some folks in my neighborhood have started using some free share library boxes as free share pantries with food items. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Sometimes the only way to survive homelessness is to be medicated, though, honestly. Not defending drug use at all. Simply explain. Again, there's no judgment from me on the folks that are down on their luck and the only way they can medicate. But the reason that I say this is in my community, I'm very well aware this is a community. We have a high sex offender community here. They can't get jobs. And I get that because they have a record and they're a danger to society. But then there's no solution for these sex offenders. Where do they go? So they live locally. They stalk all the kids in the neighborhood. They stalk the women in the neighborhood. It's really frightening for me. It's led me to want to carry a billy club. So anyway, the point of it is, yes, there are some people that are absolutely down on their luck. That is not what I'm witnessing. They then become addicted. But anyway, thinking I need to do a show on this. Not nearly enough people have heard it. Well, please invite me and let me be a participant. All right, with that, I send you with love, light, healing, compassion, joy, laughter, love, sprinkled with giggles. Until we meet again, much love.
I'm like an ice skater dancing out for the first time on the form solid ice. No more fears, no sorrows, because I love the common tomorrows. This life has barely begun, but now I know what I want to do. I know what I want to be, reborn. Finally feeling I am fulfilling my destiny, with a heart filled of gratefulness, happiness, joy, overflowing of kindness and love. Oh, so much love. I feel like love is the supportive pillar in my soul, and it only grows each day. I'm reborn in love.